Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we are ready to guide you through the wild and wonderful world of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a baby kinkster, a seasoned pro, or just here for the entertainment, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us as we share our own wild, sometimes awkward, but always entertaining experiences and spill the tea from our combined 30 plus years in the private and professional kink worlds.
So grab your favorite flogger or wand.
Thank you.
And buckle up. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and who knows, you might just spit out your coffee.
Let's get this kinky party started.
Want more Pink Kink in your life? Join our Patreon and get ready for a whole lot of kinky fun and exclusive perks.
As a patron, you'll unlock access to our private Discord server where you can connect with fellow kinksters and chat directly with us. You'll also score adorable Pink Kink stickers and enjoy a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast packed with juicy tidbits we don't share anywhere else. Plus, get sweet discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and on our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
But wait, there's more.
More?
Our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get extras, such as bonus content and free digital downloads. Oh, and let's not forget, the Pink Standard of patrons will be recognized as producers on both the podcast and on our website, because we couldn't do this without you.
Pink Kink runs on the love and support of our amazing patrons, so join the party today. Visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click on the link on pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, William P., Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Christopher, Brian, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Pumpkin Pie, S'more, Hacksaw, Devoted Knight, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override,
Kinky Bear, Swiper No Swiping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Coffee and Chaos, Mr. Pillsbury, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Baby Squirrel, Lady and Lex, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, Ophelia, Sweet Caroline, Lady to Kitten, Cydia Lemon, Ben, Noir, Freddie Queen, Princess Ree, Missisive, Godex Bunny, Elysium Rose, Avelia, Gloria, Nora Morapora, Brix, Mistress Lycia, Wonder Chris, Chessie, and Manders. So, funny story.
I like funny stories.
Well, you know this funny story. I'm saying funny story to everybody who's listening.
Gotcha.
This funny story started the last time I was at Rara's house, which was over a month ago. We've been recording from home, which is why I sound fucking weird, because I'm not actually in the studio. We're recording remotely, and I don't have all of the fancy sound dampening equipment. But we had a technical issue that was like really, really bad, and we were like freaking out. So I brought home the audio, like the device that we actually record through, and plugs in our microphones, our headphones, everything. I brought this thing home, and then this morning I was like, oh, good, we're going to Rara's, we're going to sound good. We've got 3 episodes to work on to get everything knocked out. This is going to be a long day, but it's going to be great. Rocking and rolling. I put the recording thing into my backpack. I put in the charger for it, or the adapter for it. I put in the connector for it that actually connects to my computer. I remembered my mouse this time. I put in the computer. I don't need the headphones anymore, so, I left those at home. And I put in all the connecting to little cords and everything. I was like, yes, got it. Get to Rara's. We chat for a little bit. We do our thing. We go downstairs. And I set up, which, Rara, you can confer, is a process.
There's a few things that need to be set up in preparation for recording. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I had all my cords set up. I had all the adapters set up. It was perfect. I was about to plug in Rara's microphone to the box. And I looked down and I was like, where's my cord for my microphone? And look on the floor, not there. Look at my backpack, not there. We're looking around the table, not there. What the fuck? And I looked at Rara, and she looks at me, and I went, well, It was nice chatting with you, but I guess we're recording from home again today. And
Yep,
I
it was sitting
packed
at
everything
home,
up,
sitting at home on our desk.
packed everything up, went home.
But we've solved a little bit of the problem in the sense that we got you some sound dampening panels that as soon as they get set up, we'll fix that problem.
Technically, what you got me was a room divider.
No, they're specifically sound dampening.
Okay. But yeah, I wasn't able to set that up today because that is also a process, but we'll get it.
We will make progress, but that's all right because I have a feeling you might be ranting a little bit with today's episode, and this keeps me out of the line of fire of your feet and your arms.
Ah. Okay.
Because this whole episode, guys, guess what? It was not inspired by social media. It was inspired by a patron.
Yeah.
Who brought to our attention, I mean, I guess you could sort of kind of say a little bit at social media. It was somebody in their community who made a post on FetLife. And I read the post, and because we have opinions, I responded to the post. Soon thereafter, that person deleted their post. So then I wrote my own post saying you could delete it, but we have screenshots. This is not okay, which proceeded to then go FetLife viral. I don't even know how many comments there were. People were arguing in the comments. We did not have 100% agreement, but there was, I would say the majority of people, like 85% were on our side.
Yeah, there was only a few that were.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily 100% disagree with them. I understand where they're coming from. I just still think they're wrong, but I do understand. But it inspired me. So we're going to have kind of 3 episodes that will be inspired by this because I've come up with a new E word. Or I'm using the same E word that we've used before. I don't remember because I'm old. But then our new E word that we're adding is ethics.
Yep.
And so we've got our first episode, which I'm hoping even Dara will know what this quote is from. But we'll see. Are you ready? We're going to test Dara.
I know what this quote is from.
Okay. With great power comes great responsibility.
4.
Just in case you guys aren't sure, she's being obnoxious. You might not be able to see her facial expressions, but I can see the smirk on her face.
I'm sure people can hear it at this point. So, that would be... Do you want me to actually say what it is?
Just in case for those who might not know.
It is Peter Parker's uncle. And they were in the car. I remember.
Well, depending upon which you use, some will say it was in the car, some it was when he was dying. So it's the great thing about Marvel; they just keep rewriting their universe. It's whatever, but that's from Spider-Man. Nope, we just go along with it because it's fun. Oh my God! Okay, speaking of, I gotta say this because this was the cutest fucking thing. So you know how Christmas time, you leave out cookies for Santa. I saw somebody post for July 4th. Their child left out cookies for Captain America. And so they were like 4th of July cookies, and there was a little Captain America figurine next to the plate.
That's pretty cute.
So now I need to know if I leave out those kind of cookies, will Chris Evans show up at my house? I'm just curious because I'll make the damn cookies from scratch if I need to.
Oh my word.
All right, so we'll start off with what the original post was about. Somebody was joking around about a scene that they had done. A very dangerous, in our opinion, scene that they had done where they had a bottom who has a pacemaker. And I guess the bottom asked the top to do this. I didn't get the impression this was the top's idea. I got the impression this was the bottom's idea. But the top said yes. Basically because the bottom was incredibly hot. And I guess they were very attracted to them.
Here's the problem. The top was aware about the pacemaker.
Well, the top made a comment about they almost died. But it was okay.
Yes.
It was worth it because the bottom is really hot. They weren't being serious. The whole joke was, if somebody tells you not to do this, right? Or it was just very irreverent.
Says, do it anyway.
And so it inspired all of us to talk about what is your responsibility when you are the top. And if your bottom comes to you and wants to do something that you know is dangerous, do you still say yes because they've consented and that type of stuff? So the purpose of this particular episode is we don't want to shame people who take risks. I mean, Dar and I take risks every time we play. I just did scenes last night with blood. I did a needle scene where I accidentally poked myself. These things happen, right? Every time we play, we take risks. So it's not about shaming people who take risks, but it is about holding space for this idea that when you are the top, you have a strong responsibility for safety in the scene. Now, that also isn't to say bottoms don't, because bottoms absolutely also have safety, have responsibility to keep things as safe as possible. But as the top, you're the ultimate, the final authority, the final judgment. Is that the right phraseology? It's really because as much as the bottom could say, yes, I'll do it. Yes, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You're the one doing it. So ultimately, you have that choice to do it or not do it.
Ultimately, the responsibility is on your ass.
Yeah. Right. Kink is already very risky, but it becomes really dangerous when people start treating it as a joke. You're being trusted with somebody's body, their mind or emotions, and that's a pretty fucking big deal. And I believe we should treat it like one. As I take what I do seriously. I don't take me seriously, but I take what I do seriously. And that is because of that responsibility. Last night I had several people who were brand new and had never done needles before. So it's up to me to make that experience as safe as possible for them, as enjoyable as possible, and as not scary as possible. Like those are all the things that I need to do. And hopefully if I've done my job right, not only will nothing go wrong, but I will be fortunate enough that they will want to do it again.
So you won't have to add anything to your when scenes go wrong list.
No, though I do actually have something from last night I do have to add. And it's called spatial awareness, people. Because I was in the middle of a needle scene. I was putting, and Cindy, and not a small needle because she had picked very large needles. I was putting a very big needle in, and somebody who was watching the wax scene next to me, they happened to be in a wheelchair, rolled backwards and bumped into my leg with the wheelchair, literally at the moment I'm putting the needle into Cindy's back.
Oh my God.
So I had to turn around and say something, which is, look, Rara would like to turn around and say, what the fuck are you doing, asshole? But Princess Rara understands I can't do that because I'm there as staff. So I had to just try to calmly say something. And then I went back to them again later and told them, you guys need, because there were two of them. One was in the wheelchair and then somebody else was standing next to them. And I'm like, you guys need to be aware of the space around you. I'm doing needles.
Yeah.
So I do already have something. Look, thank God nothing went wrong. It could have, though. It could have been very dangerous. That
could have been very bad.
But thankfully, we were good. So what does it really mean to be a top? Well, it's not about doing whatever the fuck you want. You can't just decide, I'm the dom, I'm the top, I'll get to do what I want and not worry about it. You are in control of the scene. And the more control you have over the scene, the more responsibility you take on. You're responsible for what happens, even if your bottom says to you, oh, I'm okay with that. As I like to say, you're the brakes, you're the guardrails, you're the backup plan. You are all about it. I mean, Dara, right? You have, and I know we've discussed this before, you've put a stop to a scene that a bottom has said, I'm good, keep going. You've made the executive decision.
Yep, I have done that actually a couple of times. And there's always that time where I thought I was okay to continue, and the bottom looked at me and went, nope, yeah, I'm not getting any more electro from you. You're green. It does work
green
both
as
ways.
In safe, not green as in safe word, green as in I'm going
physically
to puke.
Green. As in, it was during Rara's butterfly scene. Mm-hmm. And I apparently made the mistake of looking out of my peripheral vision and turned green. And my bottom looked at me and went, yeah, we're done. But I have actually stopped scenes. I think the most recent one was, actually, it's been a couple of times. There was the time that we were doing, the first time we ever did the, oh God, what was that game? Operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw all the welts on the allergic reaction welts on my bottom. And I was just like, nope, we're done. We're fucking done. Everybody stop. And I pulled everybody off the scene. I stopped a scene that wasn't even mine because somebody was doing electro and hadn't noticed the insulin pump on their bottom. And that's a life-saving medical device. If it shorts out and this person doesn't get the medication that they need because it's dead, there's a problem. Big, huge, massive fucking problem. And I think the other time I stopped the scene more recently was when I noticed somebody was having an allergic reaction, the same as that other bottom, but this was at Exotica. And I was actually super grateful to my bottom during operation because that's where I freaking learned about it. I wouldn't have known what the fuck was happening.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the fact that bottoms can end up in subspace and are therefore happy to continue and go along. And it's up to us as the top to say, I understand you feel that way, but I'm going to disagree with you and I'm going to put a stop to the scene.
Is it like an adrenaline thing? They're so spacey because the adrenaline that they just don't feel it or they can't tell or something, or they just don't give a shit?
When the adrenaline starts going, you're not able to feel pain as much. So you end up saying, yes, keep going. I can take more. And at the time you can, but you might end up down the road getting, having major regrets the next day.
Well, I think we figured out that when people do electro first, like when they're at one of your parties and they do electro with me and then they go to you for impact, they end up taking way more impact than they normally would be able to. So we kind of made it a rule at one of Rara's parties in general, no impact before, or no electro before impact, because it, forgive me, impacts your ability for what you can take, and then you have regrets.
Yeah. Now I know. So we've been doing this for a while, and even once I started topping, I had been a bottom for a while. So not to mention, I'm just me, so I don't normally have this issue anyway. But it does sometimes take a level of confidence to be able to override your bottom. You might feel, well, who am I to tell my bottom that they're wrong? Who am I to tell my bottom that it's not safe and they shouldn't continue? And that's something I think you need to work on within yourself to feel comfortable, because you are in control. You are the ultimate authority in that scene. And you've got to be able to feel comfortable and confident in saying, I'm going to override you. I'm vetoing you.
I feel like it would be for a lot of people, I'm not saying for you or me, it would be more difficult to say no to people you don't know than people who you're actually friends with, because you're more comfortable with your friends and you're more comfortable going, we got to stop. We're done. But if it's a stranger or somebody you're trying to impress, then, you know, a lot of people will be less confident in their ability to actually stop it. And the way I view that is I'm not getting sued for some sort of medical issue that happened.
Yeah.
That's not a risk I'm taking for anyone.
I'm not willing to have somebody hurt. I'm not willing to risk my reputation. I'm not willing to risk, as you said, from a financial standpoint. I mean, every time even though we're the one doing and not the one receiving, doesn't mean we don't have risks ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And like, you would think that the person who, okay, so let's say a person says, I'm ready, I'm good. You're doing it, you're doing your scene. And then you notice something, you're like, oh, we have to stop. This isn't good. You would think that would actually make your reputation even stronger, because you are putting the bottom safety first and you are saying, hey, we can't continue. I know you think you're good, but from what I'm seeing, no. I feel like that's like, oh, that person's really observant. That's awesome. Oh, that person really takes care of their bottom. That's awesome. Oh, that person puts safety first. That's awesome. Like, you would think that it would be the exact opposite mentality and be like, hey, cool, that person really knows how to take care of business.
I would think for most people that is how they would react. You might have a couple. I mean, one of the things that came out of the discussion that happened on my FetLife page, and I want to just take a minute because I just actually got permission. So now that I have permission, I can mention names. This all started, as I said, from one of our patrons. Their full scene name is Jules Bratz a lot. So I want to thank Jules for bringing this to our attention and being an inspiration and helping me out. I didn't want to mention names till I had consent, because consent's kind of a thing. So thank you, Jules. So one of the things that I discovered a couple of people were saying is that the bottom consented. The bottom said yes. If you informed the bottom of the risks and the bottom consents, who are we to take away a bottom's autonomy and agency? And my answer is, I don't think you saying no has anything to do with the bottom's autonomy and agency as much as it has to do with your own autonomy and agency, and the fact that as a top, I'm not comfortable with it. It's outside my limits and boundaries. And so I'm going to say no.
Question here.
Yeah.
But the top was like, yeah, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And the bottom was like, yes, that's a risk I'm willing to take in this instance.
So we're going to do another episode where we're going to talk about community's involvement in stuff like this. And at what point should the community step up and say, not okay, we're putting a stop to it. So we'll talk about that. But that was what some of the arguments that was going on. And then nobody seemed to really argue the fact that this was unsafe, right? All people were saying is that if they make an informed decision, they're within their rights to make an informed decision. And who am I to tell them they're not allowed? Not a single person argued that electro with a pacemaker is not safe. Nobody argued that one.
Yeah, did we mention that it was electro with a pacemaker earlier? I'm just going to restate that for those who need it. That bothers the ever-living shit out of me. That's the first thing you learn when you're doing electro. The first.
All right, so let's talk about the fact that medical risk isn't like a vibe check, right? We've got things like electroplant pacemakers. It's just potentially deadly.
Mm-hmm.
And not that there aren't other things that we do that are potentially deadly. For example, I have done rope suspension where I'm literally hanging upside down. I fall, land on my head, potentially break my neck, and I'm dead. That's a distinct possibility. But here's the difference. My rope top has control over the situation, has control over making sure that the deadbolt that's holding up the rig is solid and isn't going to come out. They have control over the fact that the rope is tied securely. Right. There's only so much control you can have over that electrical current.
And, we do take as many safety precautions as possible. I'm just going to go on my little high horse here for a second. You have a GFCI switch, which is ground fault circuit interrupter, for those who don't know. And that means that if something goes wrong in the electrical outlet or whatever, the GFCI shuts the whole thing off and no electricity goes into the wand if you're using a wand. And this goes for if there's a surge, if there's a cutoff, if there's something that goes wrong, the GFCI turns it off. We also use, most of us nowadays, to have foot pedals where that is a kill switch. If something goes wrong, we don't have to waste time turning the wand off by rotating the little bottom part. No, you hit it with your foot and it's off, it's done, kill switch, nothing. There are safety precautions that we take as much as possible. However, people don't seem to realize that electro is just as dangerous as, what other things can we compare this to? You said rope. You're hanging upside down, you could break your neck. I'm going to go with needles because stabbing and blood.
Well, the risk with the needles is more bloodborne pathogens. I mean, like I said, I did a needle scene yesterday and I got pricked with one of the needles. Now, if my bottom has any type of bloodborne diseases that could be transferred, that's the risk I take.
Well, also apparently being extra stabbed with needles because somebody bumps into the top as they're stabbing you with needles. Is it extra stabbed?
Well, but that's not life-threatening. That's just owie as hell.
But it's still a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's people think that electroplay is just, static electricity along your skin. It's a lot more than that.
Well, how many people have you met that have said, oh, I'm not interested in doing electro because I've been electrocuted at work or something? I know
I've had bad
several
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cosmo won't even come anywhere near me when I've got the wand in my hand.
So it's just, it's just being aware of it. You've got breath play. That's another huge one that people think is no big deal. It's again, you're in charge of somebody's breath. I don't know how you could not think that's serious.
Who the fuck doesn't think breath play is a big deal?
Because people don't think about it. They think about it like, I'm just putting my hand around your neck and you're not passing out. I'm just kind of controlling your ability to breathe.
You are stopping someone from breathing. That is death causing and brain damage causing.
So one of the first things you need to do before you even start to engage in any of this, before you even start to make a decision whether or not you're going to engage in any of this, is educate yourself. Understand the risks. We talk about being risk aware. You pretty much have two options. You can be risk aware or risk ignorant. Risk ignorant is never good.
It's also not an excuse. It's kind of like when you tell the cop, I didn't know what the speed limit was. They don't care.
Nope. And just imagine if you were at the top and you were risk ignorant and you did something with your bottom and they got hurt as a result. How are you going to sleep at night? You going to have any problems?
What is it that they say in courts? Ignorance is not an excuse.
No, it's not.
Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. I think that's what it is. But yeah, Same thing.
So it's, you need to make sure that you are aware. And if I have and this has happened to me with needlework, and I'm sure it's probably happened to you with electroplay too. I have had bottoms come to me and ask me to do stuff. And I use my knowledge of the risks involved to ask questions of them to make sure that they're aware. And a lot of times it is very surprising to me how many times the bottom is not risk aware. And I'm gonna get on my little high horse here for just a little minute, just so I can see over the top anyway. If you are the bottom, you are not excused from being risk aware. If you are the bottom, you are not excused from knowing what the risks are in any activity that you are participating in. If you are the bottom, you are not allowed to rely 100% on your top. And I don't give a shit how amazing and wonderful and good your top is too. I don't care how much you might be in love with your top romantically and trust them. It's still your responsibility to learn about the activities you want to participate in. Personal responsibility, informed, consensual kink. Prick. That is why I follow Prick, because it is not just my responsibility as the top. I want my bottoms to understand. And can I teach my bottoms? Yes, but that means my bottoms have to rely on the fact that my information is correct. And maybe, especially, right, like I was doing demos last night. These people don't know me. I'm just a demo top in the corner doing needles. How do they know that I know what I'm doing? So I am begging you, if you are the bottom, do the research, take the classes, learn about the individual kinks that you are participating in, and make sure you know them. Because first of all, the more you know, one, you can better vet a top. Because you ask them questions and you'll know what they do and do not know. And if they don't know shit, then you don't have to play with them. But here's the other thing. The more you know the risks, the riskier you can play. Because then by understanding the risks, you know how to set up as much safe protocols as possible to minimize those risks. If you don't know what the risks are, how can you minimize them? So it's not like, oh, I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know about the risks because then I won't do it. No, it's better to know about them and set up accordingly.
That's not a smart way to do things.
No. And telling somebody, oh, well, my bottom was fine with it, is lame as shit. I mean, what if I had a top if I heard of a top, because I don't play with people like that. If I heard a top say to me, oh, well, it was okay, they were fine with it, I'd be looking at them like, what the fuck is your problem? That's irresponsible. So when you are playing as the top, you need to make sure that you are asking. Like one of the things that I ask when I am doing my negotiations for needle play is, do you have problems clotting?
Well, that's a good question.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. When somebody is brand new for needles, I use the itty bittiest, teeniest, tiniest needles. Like is tinier than a little like pencil dot. So yeah, so I ask about clotting, not because if they have difficulty clotting, I won't play with them. I can still play with them. I just need to know so I'm prepared to deal with it. I can do a scene on somebody who's on blood thinners, which means it's going to be difficult getting them to clot. But without that information, then I'm not prepared for it. And that's when I have more stories for your scene went wrong class. But if I know about it, I'm prepared. That's me.
Be prepared.
Right. You want to look for warning signs of any trouble, things like slurred speech or shaking or paleness or, in Dara's case, turning green.
It's funny. I really wish I had a mirror for that because I've never seen somebody turn green.
Green.
So I have no idea what that even looked like.
I wasn't looking at you.
Was I actually green?
My butt was looking at you.
Hey, do you know what I just realized? That our last several episodes have all been very, very angry episodes, and we haven't done that wild, crazy giggling shit for a while.
Are we angry? Are we wearing our angry eyes?
Our angry eyes have been permanently glued onto our actual eyeballs at this point.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
getting nervous.
Well, here, I can make you angrier. I could talk about my scene last night where pretty much exactly all those things that make you turn green is what I did last night.
So is this my signal to take off my headphones?
No, but be careful if you open up FET, because I posted a picture and it'll pop up. I already got yelled at by Cindy's wife because she opened up FetLife and the picture popped up and she thought Cindy had posted it. I went, nope, that was me. So sorry.
Oh boy. All right.
So
let me know if it gets too bad. I'm taking my headphones off.
I got it. No, I'll speak in a code. Let's just say I finger painted. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
No.
So I'm going to move on. So as the top, in addition to your bottom's physical safety, their emotional safety is also your responsibility. Making sure that you are prepared if they drop. Making sure you are prepared if they go into subspace and they can no longer, their mind is altered and they're no longer in a position to consent. Making sure that if you've triggered them, you're prepared to handle that. All of that is your responsibility. It isn't just the physicality, it's also the emotional. So make sure that you are negotiating whether or not the bottom needs aftercare, whether the bottom needs emotional check-ins. We've talked about this before. My friend used to ask as part of her aftercare, not just check in with me the next day, but I need 3 days in a row of you checking in with me and making sure I'm okay. I have talked, obviously, that I'm not a big aftercare person. I certainly don't need it as the bottom. As the top, though, I give my bottoms what they need. That, to me, is where that power and responsibility comes from. They need that from me, and therefore they will get it from me. End of story. And if they need me to check, I always check in the next day, but if they need me to check in for 3 days running, I will do that, because that's the responsibility that I hold. So let's get into some of the other ethics of topping, right? So basically, ethics is the values that guide your behavior, even when no one's watching. One of the things that I've taught my kids is you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Not because somebody's watching, not because you're going to get applauded for it, not because someone's going to give you a pat on the back, but because it's the right thing. And being a top means thinking beyond, like, what can I get away with? What did they agree to? Or what do I want to do? It's thinking about what is the right thing to do here? What is in the best interests of my bottom? Even if what's in the best interests of my bottom goes against what they want to do. Kink without ethics it's just unsafe. And even if it seems to look consensual on the surface, it's not. It isn't. And we already, run into so many issues with the outside world looking at kink and thinking to themselves, oh, that's just abuse, that's just horrible. And we can't take risks. I mean, legally, you can't really consent to abuse. So if something goes wrong and the cops start getting involved and the court systems start getting involved, you might get lucky. I know that they're working on changing the laws, but there was a case, somebody was very kind to point out, there was a case in, I believe it was England, where the defendants tried to say, but our bottom consented to doing this. And the judge said, no, they really can't. So you're guilty.
Like, legally, that's true. You can't.
So some of the core questions that you want to kind of stop and ask yourself when you're doing all this. First of all, am I acting in the scene with care and respect and integrity?
And some of the things that fall into this, right? Have you set up all the safety protocols in place? Have you negotiated with your bottom? Are you making sure that safe words are there? In my case, like when I'm doing needles, do I have it set up from a safe standpoint? Like I had to change my gloves because I touched something with my glove, which now made my glove not be clean. And I wasn't about to touch my bottom again with that dirty glove. I just went and got a new glove. Am I being respectful to them? I had to laugh. I had one bottom in particular. I know I made him uncomfortable because I was watching his facial expressions intently, trying to read his body language as to how he was doing in this, because we were pushing him a little bit and I wanted to make sure he was okay. And I could tell he was like getting uncomfortable. I mean, if you think about it, you're sitting there and you're trying to process what's going on and somebody's just kind of staring at you intently. But I wanted to be
it's a little bit creepy.
Right? Well, exactly. So I explained to him what I was doing. I said to him, I'm watching your facial expressions. It's helping me understand what you're feeling so I can make sure that everything is good. And I think once he understood where I was coming from, that I was doing it from a place of respect and care, it became less creepy. But that's the whole point, is I have to do this. I mean, we talk about integrity. I remember the third scene, needle scene I did was with a friend. And she said, we were going through negotiations. And I said to her, I want you to know I am new, though. And she said, that's fine. I said, no, I don't think you understand how new you are. You will be my third scene. Because it was important to me. It was having integrity to let her know what my experience level was and not try to pretend I had more than I had. Another question to ask yourself, if something goes wrong, am I prepared? Will I take accountability or will I try to blame my bottom? In the case of, the pacemaker situation, if something had gone wrong, was this top going to then say, well, they wanted it?
Yeah, that is never going to hold up in court. And so my biggest problem with this is not only that were they joking, but they actually said that this person almost died. And I'm just like, what the fuck do you mean they almost died? Like, what exactly happened? If their pacemaker stopped, they would probably have to go to the hospital.
I don't think probably they would have, right? That pacemakers are what's keeping you alive. So if it stops working.
But then was it an exaggeration? Did they not almost die? Like, what? I need to know what the fuck happened.
Ask yourself, are you using your power to build trust or to take advantage of it? Unfortunately, we see it happen where people who are in positions in the kink community of authority use it to their advantage. Dungeon leaders, munch leaders. It happens. We've had periods of time where rope tops were not behaving well. It is very much, I know that I am always very much aware. When I go to conventions, I never do pickup play because I am in a position of authority there as an educator. And I don't believe it is right for me to do pickup play. I will play with people who we have pre-planned the scenes. And I knew going forward that we were going to do a scene long before the convention ever started, but I will not do a pickup play because of the fact that I am not going to use my power. Especially, right? I mean, somebody was asking me last night, we were talking about being treated like a celebrity. When people come up and are like, oh, I listened to your podcast, I love you. I've been wanting to meet you, that type of thing. That would be really wrong of me to then take advantage of it and say, oh, okay, do you want to play with me?
Yeah, I would never.
So view your ethics as basically a compass. Just because somebody says yes doesn't mean that you should say yes and do what they've asked you to do. And attraction and chemistry and desire doesn't excuse dangerous choices. So I want to kind of go over a little quickly about being risk aware. Because risk aware does not equal being risk immune. Risks are still going to happen. We all love to talk about the fact like we're rack players, which, in case you're new, risk-aware consensual kink. But I want you to stop and think about, are you truly actually aware of the risks you're taking? Or are you just kind of hoping things will go smoothly? Because saying your rack is fine, but a rack isn't a get out of jail free card. It doesn't mean anything goes as long as the bottom says yes. It does mean we both understand exactly what we're doing, what could go wrong, and we are making an informed choice. Now, I guess you could say, and this is what some of the people in my comment section were saying, isn't that what this bottom did? They knew exactly what they were doing and what could go wrong, and they still made an informed choice. Maybe we don't have the bottom's perspective. I don't know what the bottom knew or didn't know. But the top sure as hell knew. So I don't understand why.
It's very clear.
I don't understand why the top still did it. If you're doing electroplay with somebody who has a pacemaker and your version of risk aware is, well, they said they're okay with it. Personal opinion here, I'm pretty sure Dar's going to have the same one. That's not being risk aware, that's being risk ignorant.
Being an asshole.
Asshole.
I said it correctly, just so you know.
I know you did. I'm just thinking of the movie Meet the Fockers. The little child overheard somebody saying asshole, and that's how he would say it. Asshole.
Yep.
Did you not see that movie?
I did.
Oh, okay. Look, everybody's got different risk profiles. As Dar and I have proven time and time again, our risk profiles are not the same. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, right? Some people love CNC. Some of us are into blood. Some prefer just sensual touch. And all of that is completely valid. So the issue isn't risks. And I would never judge people for choosing to do riskier play. It's how you handle it. And when you joke about it, then I will judge you.
Yeah,
totally judge you.
Joking that somebody almost died on your table while you were responsible for them is kind of disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to shame anybody for having a more intense kink than I am. I'm fascinated, actually, by people who do, and I love to understand what they're thinking. Like, all right, Dar, you might want to take your earphones off for this one.
Does it matter? I'm going to hear
little trigger warning for this one.
Okay, well, here.
Okay, hold on, ready, go. But I had a friend who put a board under her breasts and they hammered nails through the nipples into the board. So, and I'm not going to shame her for that. I gave Dara the signal she can come on. Okay.
I don't know why we do that. I'm going to hear it when we're editing anyway. So
okay, but because now you only have to listen to it once and not twice. So I'm minimizing it for you.
Thank you.
I'm minimizing the risk. Right? So
minimizing the risk to my ears.
Yes. And to your soul. Because this stuff hits you right deep in the soul.
Are we going to turn me green again?
Maybe. I'm not going to speak up if somebody's got a different risk profile than I do, and they do some crazy risky stuff. But I am going to say something and speak up when I see somebody laughing and joking about nearly killing someone, and then turn that into a post like it's a punchline. Right? You can absolutely take big risks. Just take them seriously and treat the risks with the weight it deserves. And when you're doing electro with a pacemaker, that's pretty weighty.
Well, not to mention you're also risking everyone else at that club, because that was not a private scene. That was at a club. And you're risking the license of the club. You're risking the club being shut down if somebody fucking dies there because we're doing something basically illegal. Hello? You're risking every other person that's there.
Yeah, your scenes don't happen in a vacuum unless you're doing it in the privacy of your own home, and then you don't post about it. Right? Because even if this person had done the scene privately, they publicly posted and made it now a public scene. Okay. And public actions have community consequences. When you post about reckless play and laugh it off, you're reinforcing this idea that kink is somehow dangerous or unsafe or abusive. And that doesn't reflect just on you. That reflects on the entire community as a whole. And we're going to talk again more detail about that in the episode when we talk about the community's responsibility. Because that's a whole episode in and of itself, right? Because we already have enough people who think BDSM is abuse. And I don't want to feed this narrative by then acting like life-threatening scenes are not a big deal. So freedom to act doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to the top that made this post. I know their community is aware of what's been said now, and I would not be surprised if there are consequences to them. I know if somebody in our community said something like this, they would be ostracized and they might get banned from events. So it's really something to be aware of. All right, so let's bring it all back to this core of how do you actually show up as a responsible top? Because it's not just about avoiding harm, it's also about building trust and being accountable. And as far as I'm concerned, holding yourself to a higher standard. The first thing you want to do is learn before you lead. Don't jump into high-risk play without training or education. Take classes, read books, watch videos, ask mentors. I have talked to people who've wanted to learn how to top for needles or impact, and I've sat down and talked with them, right? It is okay to say, I'm not ready to top this yet. That's not weakness, that's integrity. I will tell you, Naughty and Nice and I talked about me topping her for a blood play scene for about 6 months before I ever did it, because I did not feel I was ready yet to do it. And meanwhile, I had bottomed for blood play scenes for a couple of years at that point. But I wasn't as confident in my skills to top for it. And so I said no because of that. Even though she had full trust and she was giving me her consent, I said no to it. Okay? You can say something like, wow, that sounds really hot, but, I haven't done that before. I'd love to learn about it with you, slowly, or maybe with a more experienced top watching, so that I can, there's a third party making sure that everything's going well. I mean, just be honest about it, about your experience. Don't fake it.
Oh, that's actually why I keep saying, that's why I keep saying that I'm not going to do a sounding scene yet. People keep asking, and I'm like, nope, have not been trained.
No, it doesn't. It is, I have more respect for somebody who says to me, I'm not ready yet, I don't have the experience yet, than somebody who lies about it. I'm not impressed, right? You're not impressing anybody by just kind of winging it. You're really just putting people at risk. So make sure you're building safety into every scene. Know your tools and how to use them. Have your safety gear on hand, your first aid kit, shears, gloves, alcohol wipes, whatever. Make sure you are having a proper pre-scene negotiation. That is not having that negotiation is non-negotiable. You have to sit down and discuss it. Right? Make sure during this negotiation you're asking essential questions like any injuries, medical issues, or meds that I should know about. If you're going to be doing a very heavy scene, check what's your emotional state what's the emotional state of your bottom at this point? Where's their headspace at? Make sure you discuss safe words, not only what they are, but what they mean. Remember, not everybody's yellow, not everybody's red means the same thing. So make sure you talk about it. Talk to them. Do they go nonverbal? And if the answer is yes, they go nonverbal, set up nonverbal safe words. Ask if there's any body language hints, right? Like I talk about, watch my toes. My toes will curl as I'm processing pain. My toes will tell you a lot about how I'm doing during an impact scene. Create room for consent to be fluid in the sense that it's ongoing and flexible, and a bottom can change their mind. But the caveat to them changing their mind is they can take away, not add, right? You can negotiate down, but not negotiate up. So if I'm working with an impact bottom and they have negotiated, I hit them 20 times. And after 10 times, they say, okay, I'm really done. I don't need any more. Then that's fine. And here's another thing. And I actually do this when I do needles. Not only make room for consent to be taken away, but set the atmosphere that your bottom feels comfortable doing this. I tell people who are brand new, we agree, let's say we're going to do an endorphin button, which is 4 needles. I always tell them, I'm going to put 1 needle in, and then I'm going to check in with you. And if you don't like the sensation and you don't want to do any more needles, you're going to tell me. And it's going to be fine and it's going to be okay, and I'm not going to judge you. Because you were already brave enough to do the 1 needle. I am not going to think less of you if you don't do any more. You're already ahead of a lot of people who won't even do the 1 needle, so you should be proud of yourself. And I make sure they understand that they are absolutely allowed to back out at any point in time. I did have one of the people who we decided that they knew they wanted to do more than 4 needles. So I put 6 in, I checked with them and they said, okay, yeah, I think I'm done. That's it. I went, cool. Okay, we're done. 6 needles it'll be. Right? And it's fine. And making them very comfortable in having said to me, I'm done, and setting their boundaries. Normalize checking in. Are you still good? Do we need a break? It's okay to take breaks for a minute or 5 minutes, however long you need, for whatever reason. Make sure that you're also taking care of yourself so that you can show up grounded for others, so you can be there for others. If you're not in the right headspace, don't top. If you're not feeling well physically, don't top. I have been the bottom where a scene has been canceled because my top said they're not in the right headspace. Was I bummed? Of course I was bummed. I was disappointed. I was looking forward to that scene. But you know what? There'll be other scenes other days. And I would much rather my top cancel the scene than try to power their way through it and potentially make a mistake and end up with people getting hurt. So as a top, give yourself that grace to say, no, I'm not in the right headspace. I did that last month. I ended up not going to be a demo because I was in too much pain and not feeling in the right headspace. And it was better, I thought, that people just miss me for 1 month than try to power through it and be there. And last night it was really sweet. Everybody was like checking in on me, making sure I'm okay. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm hurting, but I'm prepared for that. And I was very lucky, and a big thank you to Jen and Cindy, who let me go to town on them. The funniest thing was Jen, bless her little heart, says, I want to do some sadistic needles. I said, okay. And then I did it. She's like, oh my God, that hurt your face. I said, Jen, you came to a sadist. You asked the sadist to do a sadistic scene. What did you think was going to happen?
I mean, that should have been pretty obvious.
But she's like, oh my God, the glee on your face, your giggle, your smile, it's huge. I'm like, because you're letting my inner sadist out, of course. But being a top means carrying the weight of responsibility. You can be intense, you can be sadistic, you can be playful, you can be strict, soft, whatever. But you must be ethical and prepared and accountable. And that's what ultimately makes you trustworthy. That's what ultimately makes you a good top that people want to play with. So just to kind of wrap things up here, with great power comes great responsibility. And as the top, you have great power. You are holding in your hands the ability to potentially harm someone. Because we always joke about, especially as a sadist, I want to hurt you, I don't want to harm you. So we have the potential to harm somebody. And we don't want to do that. We can do all the edge play we want. We can be as intense as we want. We can be as crazy as we want. If you are being responsible and making sure that you've done all these things that we've talked about in these episodes. So I want you to just kind of sit down and reflect for a moment on what you think it means to be trustworthy as a top. If you're a bottom, what are you looking for in a top? What would make a top be trustworthy for you? And use that to vet potential partners. I will tell you, if somebody came up to Dara and said, hey, I want to do a scene with you. I've got a pacemaker, but that's okay with me.
Bye.
I can assure you, Dara's going to say, yeah, exactly.
Goodbye.
They're like not even going to finish the words. And Dara's going to be like, yeah, no, thanks.
I'd be like, no. That one lady who came
Thank
up
you,
and
but
was
no
like, oh,
thank you.
yeah, well, I'm pregnant. No.
That's a congratulations. No.
I wouldn't even do it to the girl who was in that 2-week wait, where she was like, you know, we just had an embryo transfer. We don't know if we're pregnant yet. And I'm just like, nope. I'm not risking that. I am not risking that.
Yeah. And see, point positive, time and time again, we keep giving you all these examples of us as tops saying no. That risk is just too great. So again, I want to give Jules Bratz a huge thank you for bringing this to our attention, for inspiring this episode, and there'll be another 2 coming down the pike.
Good job, Jules.
That are all this. Oh, it was great. It was like, I think it was by the end of the day, I had the outline for the 3 episodes already done. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I want to talk.
Jules is like, I'm going to be mentioned for 3 episodes. Woo!
But yeah, so we'll see you guys then next week with some more goodies.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to help us keep creating, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also support our affiliates to benefit small businesses and us at the same time.
No extra cash? No problem. You can still help by spreading the word about your favorite kinky podcast. Share us with your friends, and don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Those 5-star reviews mean the world to us. And those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pink
and level up your kink knowledge.